Don't let anything be an obstacle. Don't let anything be a wall. Just keep going, keep going. And this is what I'm doing. I mean, today I'm a construction manager. I'm running like 10 projects across the county. I co-founded a society. I do public speaking. I do training. I'm an engineering influencer on social media. I mean, I'm doing a lot, and I didn't let anything stop me from going forward. It's just consistency and keep going.
Marhaba wa salamu alaikum. Those are hello in Arabic, depending on where you're from and some of your other cultural backgrounds. My name is Ines Darrat, and I am the FY26 president of the Society of Women Engineers. Welcome to Diverse, a SWE podcast. April is Arab American Heritage Month, and SWE is celebrating the stories, contributions, and impact of Arab American women in STEM. This month is really personal for me because I am Arab as well, and I'm an American. Arab American Heritage Month is an opportunity for me to highlight my culture and my background and to really share what being an Arab in the U.S. is like. This is also personal because in the U.S., we call ourselves a melting pot, right? Is we bring our own personal selves and our authenticity to it. And while we're Americans at the same time, we each have different flavors and we do different things. Not all of us, have the same slang words, right? A lot of that's based on what the cultural heritage of the folks who live in those areas and their backgrounds. And so today is really personal for me just because not only am I getting to embrace my own heritage, but I get to talk with women engineers who also have the same background of being Arab Americans. So we have two fantastic guests with us today. Ashwaq Al-Hammami. She is a civil engineer and construction manager with nearly 2 decades of experience leading major infrastructure projects across Iraq and the United States. She is the co-founder of the American Arab Engineering Society, which I need to join. And Farrah Rawashdeh is a project engineer specializing in roadway and highway design, working on transportation projects across Texas. She serves as the president of the Houston section of the American Society of Highway Engineers. Welcome and marhaba to you both. So Ashwaq and Farrah, welcome to Diverse, and please provide us a little bit of background on yourself.
Hi, Ines, and thank you for hosting us today. And I'm very happy to share my experience, and especially it's Arab Heritage Month, which is I'm proud of to be Arab, but also part of the U.S. community. So this is Ashwaq Al-Hammami. I'm a civil engineer. My degree is building and construction engineering. This is the major, and minor is environmental and sanitary engineering. I graduated from Iraq, Baghdad, back in 2005, and I spent half of my experience in Iraq where I built myself and my experience. And then I moved to United States in 2017, and I started over. And there were a big change because currently I am a construction manager with Harris County engineering department, and I'm running a lot of projects across county line. Thank you again.
And Farrah?
Hello, marhaba. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Ines. I'm also very excited to be part of this podcast with Ashwaq. A little bit about me, aside from what was already said, I am Arab American 100% through and through, born and raised here, but I have strong ties to my culture as well as the traditions. So I'm really, really excited to go into the different nuances that come with being Arab American as well as being a woman engineer as well. So thank you again. And yeah, I look forward to getting deep into it.
Thank you so much both for attending. We actually all live not far from each other. And I actually met Ashwaq visiting a senator's office. Ashwaq was there for a different event, and I was there for the SWE Capitol Hill Day and visiting our senators. And then it's utterly fascinating that this is how big the Arab American community is, especially in the Houston area, because we have gotten a chance to meet through SWE. And so that's really exciting, and through our activities. And, necessarily met in Washington, D.C. versus meeting in Houston. So it's amazing.
It was amazing, actually. And I couldn't believe it because when I see you come in, I'm like, I know you. I remember, I know you very well. And then I put myself together and then yeah, this is Ines from SWE. And that was a nice moment, really.
Same as well, same as well. And so that's part of it, right? Is our community is here and has been here for decades and generations and centuries, right, in the US. And also, Farrah, you said you were born and raised here in the States and you would tie to your culture. Ashwaq and I were born outside the US and so have come to the US as immigrants, and all of us currently serve in engineering spaces. And so that's just fascinating. Like, we can all just have different backgrounds and where we come from. So one of the things I wanted to kind of touch on between us all is I want to kind of talk about what unique aspects does your background as an Arab American bring to your professional lives today? Farrah, I'll start with you.
I love this question, and this comes up frequently. I think the way that I approach, engineering through and through is problem solving, critical thinking. And I think by nature, we as immigrants, my parents are immigrants, albeit I was born and raised here, but I did live in the Middle East for quite some time. We may approach things a little differently. I only look at it as a positive. I have noticed working with other people, they bring a different aspect to the table that may not have otherwise been discussed. I take pride in the fact that we approach things a certain way. We think about things through and through. And ultimately, I think that we reach the bottom line. We meet our goals that way. I'm very fortunate, actually. So I think with that, there are probably other things that we are able to provide, bring to the table. But all in all, I think that's something that in my personal experience, I have noticed that there are advantages for sure.
Ashwaq, would you like to add what you believe your background provides or that would be unique?
Yeah, so I came from a challenging community or environmental because I came from Iraq. I'm Iraqi, so there is a lot of challenging being a women engineer over there and being in construction specifically and dealing with all the circumstances that we have. So I brought the good of that experience and I take the good from the experience that I have here because next year it will be 10 years experience in US. And I'm trying to put them together, what I did for all these past years. And it makes me who I am today, where I am able to serve both communities, serve the Arab communities, and then serve the non-Arab communities in general, regardless of their background. So this makes very unique because I found out some communities, non-Arab communities, we all share a lot of things together. So marrying both experience, the good experience makes you a different person that you can deal with almost everyone, almost every background will make it easier for you and it will be very approachable.
One of the things I was thinking about is, in the Arab community, sense of family and community is really big, right? A lot of times, especially if your family's from the Middle East, a lot of family members all live like not far from each other. They all see each other like probably once a week at minimum. And there's like a lot of sense of family and a sense of community. And one of the things is that sense of community is just a little extra. It's very different than I would say overall sense of community that you see in overall American culture. And both of you, what you do is really in the shaping of communities themselves, right? Because you're very much tied to civil engineering and construction type work. And so whether it's like the roadways, the design, the infrastructure, or the construction items, your involvement in the different societies you belong to, and also your work, like, do you feel like your sense of how you perceive community and family also provides more on the journey or what you've done with your careers when your work is directly working with communities?
Yes, actually, it helps a lot. For me, especially, helped me to help others understand each other. So in other words, the differences in the communities, in the way that we are dealing, the way maybe we shaking hand, the way we talk to each other, the specific words on how to understand each other. As you mentioned, Dinas, all these differences sometimes is leading to a conflict between the colleague. I will talk more about the work environment between the colleagues. It's not because someone did something wrong, it's just the misunderstanding. And usually I give an example is in the Arab community, looking to the eye directly is a disrespectful, but in American community, it's respectful. If you don't look it to the person in his eye, it's disrespectful, like why he is not looking at me. But in the Arab community, is means challenging. And of course, this is one of so many. Working again in both communities or in both cultures and get to know the cultures itself. Because for me, when I moved to US, I tried to know more about the culture before knowing more about the work. Because the work you can learn from training, from a book, from a colleague, from the work itself. But how to deal with the culture, this is a big thing, because you don't want to misunderstand and you may lose opportunity because of something that you did. You think it's correct, but culturally it's incorrect. So actually, those are one of the things that I focus on when I do training or when I do with my mentees. This is what I show them. And even people, like a lot of speech I did, I focus on this. The culture is very important, and this is where we need to focus on.
It's fascinating you were talking about the shaking hands. So many years ago, my company, the way we do promotions was we have a promotion review board, and you have to go before the promotion review board and state your business case. And this must be done as part of the promotion process. And so I, walked into this panel and I shook all their hands, and the CEO at the time said something along the lines of, "Oh, Ines, I wanted to double check about this shaking hands," because he was being prepped to go give a presentation in the Middle East. And, someone had told him, which I appreciated, that, shaking the hands of women is not necessarily something to do. Like, I was like, yeah, if I was walking into a room of Arabs, I would not automatically go shake your hand, right? I would see what happens, but I'm walking into a room full of Americans, and the expectation is I'm going to walk in and shake your hand. So I'm going to shake your hand, right? And I have to do this sometimes if my mom or my parents come and my colleagues are there. I don't do a very good job of this, but one of the things I have to remind people is like, my mom might not shake your hand. So don't be offended if my mom does not shake your hand, right? And it's just kind of like, actually don't extend your hand. If she extends her hand to you, then shake her hand, but don't extend your hand kind of thing. And so the shaking the hand thing is just very much a cultural thing, but it's very much a matter of living in two worlds, right? Like if I'm in the Arab community here in the States, I would not go shake people's hands unless I knew them personally very well and I knew they shaked hands and X, Y, and Z, right? So I feel like sometimes that's the nuances, and it's not disrespectful. It's nothing else. It's just the way a culture is, right? But when I introduce my mom to colleagues, sometimes I always forget to hey, my mom might not shake your hands, right? And those are things that, as Ashwaq, as you put it, those are not like the work themselves. Those are just like, how do people communicate? And so it doesn't cause misunderstandings of why someone wouldn't do something, right? Just because the culture is just slightly different, right?
Yeah, one more thing I just remember is it's even the voice itself. Like Arab, usually they speak loud.
Yes.
While American, not. So sometimes when they listen to us, they say why you are raising your voice? And I have to explain, no, they are not raising their voice. It's just, this is how we are. So it's a lot of things. If we start talking about it, this episode will not be enough to bring it all.
Yes, which is why we're just using examples, right? But I agree with you. But the loud voice, I've been told many a times how loud my voice is. And I'm like, oh, I have to bring it down, right? I've seen people do this and I understand it, which is to be like, maybe we should use our indoor voices, right? And I was like, well, okay, I appreciate the comment, and then that tells me my voice has gotten a little loud, right? With that, Farrah, I know you're also working in the community, right? That's the kind of work that you do, with that sense of community that you see in the Arab world. How are you bringing that into your work itself?
A great question. For me, I think I have a unique perspective. Again, go back on perspective, just because I do feel very much American and very much Arab. In the workplace, bring awareness to those who may not have otherwise known about certain things, whether it be religiously or just the culture. I do like to bring it up in case it helps us as either a firm or a group or friends of friends. If it gives them a different perspective, that information is helpful in any little way, whether it be, people collaborating on a specific project, or maybe they're working on something outside of that, whether it be a social setting. Fortunately, I haven't seen that many gaps, and I think that just boils down to living and working in Houston, one of the most diverse cities in the U.S. So for me personally, my mission was to really just give back to the community and society as a whole. And just having, my background adds another layer to that sense of responsibility. It's a want, but I also feel like it's a need. It's also a responsibility, for sure.
Thank you so much. Yeah, actually living in Houston is really amazing because the number of languages that are spoken in the Houston area is like way over, like I think 60 languages. And it's one of the most diverse places in the world. And living in Houston it's a great mix of your American culture, your Arab culture come together. And I think in Houston, it's very much a way to shine just because of just the way the city's set up and just the culture of the Houston area itself. One of the things that I got the privilege to do as SWE president is the year's theme is actually something that I get to pick. The theme is really centered around the president and what they see and what they want to accomplish. And so this year's theme is Embrace Your Story. So we have a wonderful HQ team who helps work through the theme and, make it succinct and does a wonderful job. And really, once we put it together and after everything is that the Embrace Your Story actually comes from an Arabic background. There's a couple of things that I love, and it comes from my Arabic background as well as my religious background, but it's just really a map that what will come, but then to also embrace what's happened in your past and what happens in the future is truly shaped by your past, and that you never know that just because something feels like a failure or something went wrong doesn't mean that it wasn't a door that opened up to you and it wasn't in the overall good for you, because what happens then is it impacts your future. And the Embrace Your Story was a wonderful way to capture what would otherwise be a very much an Arab proverb and Arab background. So it was very meaningful to me. And that's why Embrace Your Story means so much to me, because a lot of people think that, I've been very privileged. I'm SWE president. I am a director at Trinity Consultants, which I will celebrate on May 3rd, being at Trinity for 22 years. And it's been great. And I've had a great work experience. But what's happened along the way, it wasn't like, hey, success after success after success, and the trajectory I had planned is the way I went. Along the way, I've had what otherwise might be considered as failures. I like to call them pivots, and they've pivoted me in different ways, and they've truly enriched my career. And in some cases, for instance, the day I decided that finishing my Ph.D. was not going to be in the cards for me was very hard. And it was a very hard decision as well, just, for a dream, and then also expectations of immigrant parents and a lot of different things that happened with it. My biggest thing, right, is that pivot, that door that closed the day I decided that, actually opened the door for me in the future to come work at Trinity. And I truly believe that had I gone the other path, I don't know if I'd be today SWE president or where that path would have taken me, because along the way, those decisions is what led me to move to Columbus, Ohio, is what led me to re-engage back into SWE after being a very involved collegiate. And so those pivots have really been a part of my successes and have gotten me to where I am. And then every door that I felt kind of closed is part of what's happening, and actually opened up a new door. And I might not have seen it the next day, but I sure enough, like looking back on a life and looking back at what's happened over, especially career-wise and SWE-wise over the past couple of years, is that door closed and truly did open another door and really shape the future. So Farrah, I'll start with you, but what are some things that maybe didn't go your way or weren't planned moments? How did they redirect your path, whether career-wise or within your organizations, that you're working with? Like, how did that redirect you, and what are some insights that you can provide to our listeners?
I love this question because I have numerous things that have happened that have, I don't want to say derailed, because in my mind, everything that happens is meant to be, and it'll ultimately guide you to the path you're meant to be on. In my case, I've had a few hiccups in my career. I would say maybe even going back to my college years. I was not able to graduate as early as I had anticipated. And while that at the time felt like a huge bummer, just being an eager college graduate, that ultimately served me very well, because I was able to earn another bachelor's. So I have a dual bachelor's, but that helped me in other ways that I wouldn't have otherwise imagined had I planned it. Pursuing a career in civil engineering, specializing in transportation. I also spent some years at my first employer. I didn't necessarily feel challenged towards the end of my time there. And I ultimately made the decision to make the jump, even though it was very scary. But I took the gamble, and I am at my current organization. And along with that came other opportunities for me to serve leadership roles in some of these nonprofits, including ASCE and ASHE and now AAUS. Looking back, I think about, had this one thing not happened, the trajectory would have been very different, kind of similarly to what you were saying about your personal experience. I'm very open to things not going as planned because there is almost always a silver lining, whether or not we come to realize what it is as soon as we'd like. But everything that has not gone to plan in my life has ultimately served me. And I'm very happy with where I'm at right now. And if I could give advice to anybody, it would be to embrace the change, embrace the difficult times, because there's only one way to go from there, and that's up.
Ashwaq, I'll ask you the same question as well. How have you embraced the pivots or the unexpectedness?
I'm glad that you call it a pivot because I don't believe in failure. Actually, failure is the other face for experience. When I said I have 20 years of experience, that means I've been through a lot of failures, but not necessarily the one that really a fail. Because when you say failure, that means you are unable to stand up again or start over. So a pivot or a turning point in my life is when I decided in 2017 to leave everything behind and move to United States without knowing what is waiting for me. At that time, I was an operation manager for one of the largest consulting company in Iraq. And then I have to leave everything behind and come to here. And when I came in here, it took me a while to realize that, okay, I need to start over because whatever I did in Iraq is really here unknown for them. They don't know like if I really did that work. They don't know the situation over there. So I had to start over. And literally I did a start over. So from being an operation manager in Iraq for the largest company, I started here with TechDot as a construction inspector. And I worked hard. I didn't believe in like, okay, because I'm construction inspector, I wouldn't be like where I am today. And working hard, trying to improve my language, trying to prove that the knowledge that I have, it's acceptable here. It took a lot. It took like days and nights, a lot of effort. And also being a woman, our industry, it's a male dominated. Being a female in construction, especially, it's a little bit difficult and complicated, especially when they ask like, okay, how long you've been with this company? Because I started with TechZo, then I moved to the city of Houston, and currently I'm with Harris County. So when I say I've been, let's say, with Harris County 3 years, they will think that I don't have that much of experience. So sometimes people underestimating me, and that's, of course, put me in trouble when the time to come to make a decision. But I learned from this is it's okay to be underestimated, just deal with it. And they will find out later that, no, you are not what they are thinking. You have the knowledge, you can make a decision. Don't let anything be an obstacle. Don't let anything be a wall. Just keep going, keep going. And this is what I'm doing. I mean, today I'm a construction manager. I'm running like 10 projects across the county. I co-founded a society. I do public speaking. I do training. I'm an engineering influencer on social media. I mean, I'm doing a lot, and I didn't let anything stop me from going forward. It's just consistency and keep going. It's like I always put it an example as you are in a ship and sailing, and sometimes you will go through a storm. So instead of turning and go back, the ship just keep going, keep continue. And the captain, with the experience, with learning from the situation itself, will lead the ship out of that storm. And once you are out of that storm, you'll be like, oh, I made it. Each situation, and I learned this like very long time ago. That was early in my career. Someone told me that. He said, always remember, each situation will help you to understand yourself very well, and will help you to discover yourself of things that you will never know that it's in you. So if you want to become a leader, If you want to be a manager, some people, they said, oh, I don't think that I can fit in this position. But you don't think because you've never been in that position or you've never been in that situation. But once you've been in there, trust yourself. You'll be even probably better than me. And this is what I always tell the young engineers, like, you look at me as an example, thank you. But if you've been through what I've been through, you've probably been better than me.
Ashwaq, I have a question for you. The comment you made about like people underestimate you. When people ask you how long you've been at your role, do you sometimes answer with, well, I've been a practicing engineer in construction for so many years. That way you include your time in Iraq and your time here in the States. Or have you found ways to navigate that discussion?
For me, I've said, like, for example, when they asked me, like, with Harris County, I said, yes, I've been with Harris County 3 years, and I give a pause and look at to their reaction. And then I continue. I said, yes, but prior to that, I have such and such and such experience. So it depends on the situation. Sometimes I just say 3 years and move on. I don't say anything. But sometimes, no, I explain more. I mean, there is no example, but this is what I learned, especially at the very early career in US when I was with TechZot and being a construction inspector. So that's a lot. And I face this, like, or I have this conversation with people that they have like maybe 20 years, 25 years, or 30 years. So I just said yes.
So something I want both of you to share about is, because as someone who, I'm very excited about this because I need to join myself, is the American Arab Engineering Society. So you've both clearly been involved. You've helped found this organization. Can you like tell us more about the organization and some of the work it's doing, and where do you want to take it?
I will start with this one because I'm one of the co-founders, and Farrah is our board member and she's our treasurer. And actually we are so happy and glad to have her in our board. She is giving a lot. American Arab Engineering Society founded last year, July 2025. There are so many talented Arab engineers, but not enough connection, support, or guidance, especially for those trying to navigate their career in US. So AAES is about building that community, creating opportunities, sharing knowledge, and helping engineers grow together. We want to see like the Arab engineers being spotlighted in the community. Actually, it started from 3 co-founders, including myself and other 2. Each one of us has an idea on serving the engineering community, the Arab engineering community back, but we didn't know how. And the idea started with a group on Facebook or WhatsApp, and then it became a society. And we are registered with the state of Texas. We are 3 board members, Iraqi, the co-founders, and we have Farrah. She joined us as a treasurer. She is Palestinian Jordanian. And we have the 5th board member. He is Egyptian. He's a mechanical engineer. Our main goal is, again, to support the Arab engineering community, electrical, mechanical, oil and gas, anything. We want to support everyone. And this is like how we started. This is our first year, our first official year. We just had a workshop last week, and we have a full year of workshops and everything. I can share all the information with you. I think Farrah, you would like to add something. You see the society from the other side. Yeah.
Yes. I was very honored when I was approached to join the board, just given that it is a fairly new organization, but I see a lot of potential, hence why I'm on the board, and I can't wait to see the things we can accomplish. One of the things I wanted to emphasize, we're across all disciplines, so not a specific engineering discipline, and we are also aiming to go nationwide. This organization is not specific to Houston, it's not specific to Texas, but we are looking to reach a broader community of Arab American engineers. Our ultimate goal is to have that sense of community to help us grow and evolve, whether it be that they were born and bred here or abroad. We do not discriminate. I think it's just something that we felt like there was a need for it. We didn't find anything remotely close to that in our market. And so Ashwaq, as well as the other 2 co-founders, found the need and they addressed it. And so we're super proud. And again, I can't wait to see all that we can accomplish. That is our intent, is to just have a stronger community from Arab American engineering. Hopefully we'll have enough folks joining our organization to where we will be as big as Spain one day.
Thank you both for sharing, and I look forward to it, and I look forward to also seeing the group expand. It's very fascinating. I love the fact also that it's like Arabs from different backgrounds as well. So whether you were born and raised here or you're immigrant, also like what your heritage background is, whether you're from like the Gulf area, like Africa is a combination of it. I'm a Libyan American as well. So, being from Africa, it's also a different perspective. So one of the things to think about, right, is being Arab just means that we speak Arabic, we have different Arabic backgrounds, and then there's the cultural pieces of it, but that being Arab is different depending on where you're from, right? Like we don't have a monolith of a culture, right? Like myself being from Libya and North Africa, my Arabic, my cultural background, even the food I eat will be very different than Ashwaq or Farrah, your background. And you two also will have very different backgrounds just because of your heritage background, like the kind of food you eat, even like the Arabics we speak, all three of us. If we were in a room and we were speaking Arabic right now, all three of us would have a very different dialect, a very different accent. And some of the words that I might use might mean something to Ashwaq, or they may mean something different to Farrah as well. And so just kind of that idea of like, there's no monolith, and just like someone who speaks English from England or Scotland or Australia or the United States. First of all of us would speak English slightly differently. But then also in the States, whether you're from New England or from Texas, your English will be slightly different. And also the food you eat and all the different cultural backgrounds. And so being Arab is very similar in that perspective as well. So with our closing thoughts, Farrah and Ashwaq, is there anything else you would like to have the audience know about you or the organizations you belong to, or any advice that you have for Arab American engineers and their allies?
Okay, I'll go first. So for our organization, AAES, we have our website launched, and we have LinkedIn group, LinkedIn page, we have Instagram and Facebook. They can go and look for American Arab Engineering Society, and we will be happy if someone contacted us and they want to know more about, or they are willing to contribute to the engineering community. We would be happy to collaborate. As far as the episode and this very nice podcast, I would say that your journey doesn't have to be perfect to be meaningful. Every challenge, every delay, every restart, it all adds to your story. Just to stay consistent, keep learning, and don't be afraid to take your own path. Last but not least, thank you, Ines, for having us. Hopefully this talk will inspire some other women or some other young engineer to maybe go and find their path or their goal.
Well said, Ashwaq. We want to set an example to the young women who may be thinking of pursuing a career in engineering, or whether it be they want to seek leadership roles, if they want to get more involved in their communities, or whatever it is that may look like. Ultimately, we are here as a resource, support, and all that we do really boils down to giving back to the community. I really want to thank you all for inviting us to speak. And again, I really hope that any of the listeners out there get inspired from this conversation and hopefully apply it to their own careers.
Thank you both so much, and thank you for a great conversation today. It's truly been a wonderful conversation, and it's really great to be able to share Arab American Heritage Month with you all on this wonderful SWE podcast, and just love the embracing of the different cultures that we do at SWE and our community. So thank you all so much, and thank you all for joining us and for your insights and for all the work that you do to continue to support engineers and women and their allies. I'm Darrat, and from all of us at SWE, thank you for listening.